Do you know what it means to catch a tuna like this? You may never know how much a tuna can fetch. Anyone who feeds tuna to their dog knows that. Tuna needs to sell at a high price. First, determine the fat content of the fish. Second, determine whether the core of the fish is bright red. Good fish like this, it was selling for $24 a kilo. A tuna like this easily make over $10,000. Making $1 million a month is like eating a bone. Cook and his men had already been fishing at the fishing spot this morning. These mackerel are tuna's favorite bait. Buy bait when you have money. Fishing for bait at sea without money. Cook's current position is at the top of the mountain. This location is good for deep fishing. The water temperature here is what tuna like. Fishing is all about luck. After putting the mackerel in the water, just waiting for the tuna to come. It was a little after 5 in the morning. Dave and his crew are here too. Wait for the tuna to get up for breakfast. The wind and waves are strong today. Jack and his boat were rocking very badly. Most of the players got their bait fresh. Their boat is the lowest fit, but they are currently number 1. This is a lot more cost-effective. A man standing on a boat looks like a tumbler. The average person vomits over dinner overnight. It's much more stable than Paul's boat. They're a duo. Paul kept his eyes on the probe, afraid to miss every moment. Paul thinks he is the most profitable this season. Every fish you catch is profitable, so there's no pressure at all. It would be even better to be a champion. There's a good chance of fishing every morning, so make sure you have time in the morning. Soon the probe beeped. Several captains have detected this tuna. We got some tuna in here. It just depends on who has the better luck. Everyone is nervously waiting for the opportunity. Cook's rod was the first to respond. The tuna bites the hook and tugs at the line. This is when the tuna is at its strongest. You can't rush the line. Otherwise, the fishing line will be easily torn. All you can do is clean up the clutter around you. There's good news from Dave too. When the big fish bites the hook, move the fishing rod away from the side. They call the day the fish are served payday. You only get paid if you catch fish. Paul kept an eye on Dave with his binoculars. I really envy seeing people serving fish. There are quite a few fishing boats around. There are also many anchors in the water. This may discourage them from fishing. They fished as they sailed. At the same time, Cook and his team are working hard. The line was torn too much. You have to let the line go. It's easy to break if you pull it hard. This process cannot be rushed. It has to be done slowly. Let the tuna die of exhaustion. Dave follows the direction the tuna is swimming. Adjust vessel at any time. You have to fish for more than an hour each time. Before they catch it, like hot ants. I wanted to take off my pants and jump. Cook's got it all figured out. Attack at any time with a harpoon. When the tuna is pulled to the surface. Direct harpoon attack. Stung tuna because of pain, and will struggle again. But in the end, I couldn't fight them. This tuna is destined to be my sashimi. I've been dreaming about this tuna. Cook, they fought each other for me. They just didn't think to give me the fish. Dave, they're still working on it. The tuna turns hundreds of times underwater. Just won't come up here and be a sashimi. The teammates were not convinced. Had to yank the line. Soon the fish was pulled to the surface. Teammates with harpoons looking for opportunities. Try to hit it 100%, but soon the fish swam down again. They really put up with it. I would have jumped in the water. Another round of pulling. They finally gave the tuna a shot. This time the tuna will be doomed. After pulling the fish closer to the boat, a teammate holds a hook and hooks the tuna. By a stroke of luck, another tuna was caught. One morning they harvested 2 fish. That's really good luck. The Cook fish is only 94 inches. He's a decent fish. Then they went straight back to Hong Kong to sell their fish. Dave's a big fish too. It's only 95 inches long. The length is the same. Whoever gets the fat gets the high price. OTT, they're looking for fishing spots. Looking for a cool water to fish in. Cook hauls today's tuna back to port. The buyers are already waiting. Tuna needs to be evaluated for meat quality. It's mainly about meat quality, fat content, and the core of the fish. The fish weighed only 302 pounds. Looks pretty fat. Next up is the bidding round for shady buyers. Buyers look at fish with better subcutaneous fat content. but prices are definitely going to have to come down. A pause followed by a price of $17 per pound. Cook and his crew made $5,134. Today's harvest is not bad. Marcia, they always show up at noon, talking to girls before they've even started fishing. Anyone who's seen my videos knows that. The girls are the bad guys of the season. They catch the fewest fish. Departures are also minimal. Today, Marcia is taking this sucker with her. It just depends on who has the better luck. The girls want to join the Tyler and Marcia alliance. An alliance is a joint defense of a fishing spot. Marcia, it's a rat trap. Dave and his men return to port. All fish need to be evaluated by the buyer. Their fish is the same length as Cook's, and you're 48 pounds higher than that. Looks like Dave's fish are fatter. The buyer says the fish is very pink. Fish is also rich in fat. The final price was $23 per unit. Dave and his crew raked in $8,000. The price difference between the two fish is too great. Dave's very confident now. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Paul and his crew are still fishing here. They were fishing in the same spot as Dave. But Dave had gone home in the morning, and they have to spend a whole day waiting. While fishing, they usually tie a balloon to a fishing line. This allows you to see where the fishing line is. While Paul was lining up his fishing line, the detector beeped. Team sees tuna coming. Usually, it doesn't take long for this to bite. Sure enough, the fishing rod was quickly pulled. Teammate adjusts the fishing rod. The tuna swam to the bottom of the boat. Paul needs to redirect the ship in time. Fishing if you don't follow the direction of the fish. It could easily break. The fish lost its strength quickly today. Paul attacked it with a harpoon. They soon succeeded in controlling the tuna. Maybe it's small. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to catch the fish so soon. After they pulled the fish into the boat, it looks really big. I can't believe it's 108 inches. This fish is bigger than Cook, Dave, and all of them. Definitely a big fish. When they returned to port, I even put on a suit, even though it was painted. But this fish is really big. If the fish is fat enough, it's sure to fetch tens of thousands of dollars. The fish weighed a whopping 528 pounds. The next step is to evaluate the fish. The buyer says the fish is lean. What fat can he see? Paul, their faces suddenly turned ugly. The buyer offered only $15 a pound. 528 pounds of tuna brought in just $7,900. Dave's got 348 pounds of tuna. I made over $8,000. Paul's suit looks like a funeral. This tuna is destined for the dogs. Another day has passed. It was a little after 6 in the morning. My sister cooked breakfast on the boat. Tyler, they didn't get anything yesterday. We'll see if we have any better luck this morning. He called in Marcia as a partner. This is undoubtedly to increase their competitiveness. But he doesn't see it as a competition at all. On the contrary, I think it is very good. It's past 7 o'clock in the morning. Cook and his crew are also waiting for the fish. A fish was caught yesterday. No rest today to continue fishing. Let him reel you in like this. He fished all the tuna in the sea by himself. He dissected the probe. Says these reds are most likely herring colonies. This will easily attract tuna to feed. As soon as the tuna comes here, he's sure he'll catch the fish. Now Cook is number 2. He vowed to get first place. The name means a lot to him. Showed an amazing competitive spirit from an early age. That's what Cook said. But I don't see a competitive spirit, you know. Now Cook's strategy is to fish where there are fewer people. This is indeed the wisest choice. Marcia, they're different. Everyone needs someone to fish with. I brought in the girl group yesterday. No fish have been served until now. Taylor's been bored to sleep. Now all they have is competition. All this help stuff isn't real. As long as the boat doesn't break down, you don't need any help at all. Girls are constantly changing their bait. Soon came a tuna. Tyler's still taking a nap. The detector is ringing. The line is yanked straight away. He was awakened. That's good enough luck. You can catch fish in your sleep. Good news on the girl's side, too. This fish, they waited until menopause. Tyler sees tuna in the distance. I called for Marcia to come fishing. The fish was soon pulled to the surface by them. But that's still a long way off. Need to move the boat to adjust position. Tyler attacked the tuna with a harpoon. Almost got in the water with a fishing pole. Had to look for another opportunity to attack it. There's a lot of excitement here. It's rare to serve fish. She yanked as hard as she could. Taylor's here for a second strike. Missed it again this time. Just watch the girls over here. Too bad to miss. Taylor launches a third attack to get this fish under control. It looks very big, and the girl's got a tuna on her side. But it looks small. I'm just happy to catch a fish. 3 teams in 1 league. 2 of them caught fish. There's only one left to die of embarrassment. When the girl pulls the fish up, only 83 inches. It's just a small fish. Tyler pulled the fish up too. It's 97 inches long. It's a lot bigger than the girl group. Depends on whose fish is fat. They sell fish when they get back to the port. The fish is not big. A lot of restaurants would love that. This fish weighs 438 pounds. Judging by the head, this fish must be fat. Look at this tail fish. The buyer says the fish doesn't have any fat, but the core of the fish is beautiful. The buyer offered $24 a pound, a 97-inch tuna. It sold for $10,512. Once again, the Taylor team worked wonders. I thought fish didn't have any fat. The price really surprised me, and the girls are back in port. Finally got to see these 2 fuckers selling fish. This fish is a little smaller than Taylor's, but the weight difference is huge. The fish is bright red, but there's no fat. The fish core works better. The buyer offered $18 a pound. They made more than $5,000. I do see it. This handsome buyer has a conscience, and that fat buyer is black. Another day has passed. Marcia, they haven't caught any fish yet. We're all on the same team. Why do other people get to serve the fish? And they didn't. Anyway, why don't we have breakfast first? Photographers carry dozens of pounds of equipment to shoot all day long. The catch was good. If you don't catch any fish, I really want to throw the camera into the ocean. The detector detected the arrival of fish. Soon the fishing rod was pulled. It's not the speed of the fish that surprises me. It's that there's really a lot of tuna in this spot. Almost every day I come here and catch a fish. Marcia was drifting in the boat. You don't have to change direction that much. Soon they were the fish out. Do all the fish lately have kidney deficiency? How can you lose your strength so soon? I thought it was a fish kidney deficiency. I didn't realize people were more hollow. I can't even throw it from this close. It's a disgrace to the whole world. Soon they have the tuna under control. Sure enough, I have to eat breakfast every time I go fishing. Anyone who eats breakfast in this episode will catch a fish. Marcia could fly for joy. He said he was going to marry a concubine back home. When they pull the fish out, it's the size of this fish. Forget about the mistress. I don't have a problem finding a girl. This tuna is 105 inches long. Too long is not always a good thing. Something has to be a little bigger. Do you know what I mean? Big is fat. The fish weighed 520 pounds. The fish is very beautiful, and the fat content is okay. The buyer offered a very low price of $10 a pound. They only made $9,360. My jaw dropped. Such a big fish. It's $10 a pound. This guy is young. Why are you so black? Cook and his men were fishing for bait in the sea. These small fry fish are very good. Cook and his crew are very experienced in fishing. Now it's number 2. If we hadn't decoupled twice, he must be number 1. They are very hungry for the championship. He goes fishing almost every day. Soon the probe beeped. The tuna is 80 meters below the surface. As soon as it comes up, I'm sure I can fish it for sashimi. Cook stared at the screen, not daring to breathe. Soon the rod began to be pulled. Teammates quickly put away the other fishing rods. Cook is so lucky. Fish are served almost every day. He's caught 3 fish so far this episode. It's really easy to make $1 million a month. If I could catch a tuna a day like Cook. Today's tuna was quickly subdued. 2 shots in a row. No amount of physical strength will help. Soon they caught the fish, screaming with excitement, hugging teammates and kissing. This fish got them to the championship. After pulling the fish out, another 100-inch fish. Paul was analyzing Cook. I learned that Cook wanted to win at all costs. Dave was admiring the sea too. They have no hope of winning. Odie hasn't been getting anything lately. Bad luck too. Cook then sold the fish to the buyer. Everyone knows he has a black heart. The fish weighed 390 pounds. Very good size. The meat looks very good. It's also high in fat. The buyer eventually offered $22 a pound. They raked in more than $8,500. It's a good income. What surprises will the contestants bring us next? Look forward to an update in the next video. When you catch a tuna, how can I get the highest price? Remove a piece of fish from the tail first, and then take a sample from the core. The same 97-inch tuna. Some sell for just over $3,000, but some sell for more than $9,000. What are the specific reasons? This evening, Taylor and his sister are out at night fishing. Catch some bait when you're bored. These live animals are sometimes the best thing for tuna fishing. The fishing season is very short. They want to make the most of their time, either selling fish or on a fishing trip. Soon the probe beeped. Fresh bait just dropped. Is it taking so long to get the fish? As expected, the fishing rod is quickly pulled out hissing. Taylor was overwhelmed. Call my sister out to work. After Tyler pulled the anchor of the boat. Adjust the ship's direction quickly. The line has been pulled very far. If we don't get it back, I'm afraid this tuna will pull the hook to the North Pole. Tyler wants to leave, but he won't. Is this a bad time for your period? They must wait until the fish has no strength to reel in. Looks like there's a boat problem with Tyler. He couldn't adjust the ship, which means they can't control the tuna. Sister firmly held down the fishing rod. The ship could not adjust its direction. We'll just have to pull it in. The sky in the distance began to lighten. I don't know how long they've been fishing this fish. The sky was already bright anyway. Sister is constantly retracting. About an hour and a half passed. My sister is still trying. There's a lot of anchor points around here. These anchors underwater are probably crab cages. This is very bad for them. About a few dozen meters down, Sister saw the tuna coming to the surface. The tuna stuck with them for a long time. Just when Tyler was bragging, an accident happened. They had no idea it was going to break. Fishing from night to day. This tuna is broken. It was a beautiful morning. It suddenly turned into a bad day. Being fucked by this fish. The mentality of the two people today all collapsed. The cat was very sensible and came to comfort Tyler. It's past 6 in the morning. Paul's team arrives at the fishing spot. There's a better chance of fishing in the morning. The team's job every day is to catch bait. These live little fish. Forget about the tuna. Even I like it very much. Small fish caught need to be kept in a tank. Use it as tuna bait at any time. We are now halfway through the fishing season. So far, Paul feels he is doing well. Dave and Paul share a fishing spot. They found something unusual on the probe. The detector beeped. Nearby Cook took note. Then it's just a matter of who's lucky enough. ODT got the tip too. I wonder how big this probe is. A tuna appears near Paul's boat. Soon the rod began to be yanked. The two were excited to fly. But there's not just one tuna. Paul just got the fish. There's been another reaction from Cook. They were so lucky. A fish is caught almost every day. There's an anchor point in the nearby water. We have to tell them to put it away. It's only after 6 in the morning. You can leave early if you catch tuna. You have to wait for the tuna to run out. Cook, and they put away the sign. They were very close to Paul. Indicates a fishing contest. They don't really compete, right? It's all a matter of luck. Otter and his men watched Cook fishing nearby. If you can't catch it at this point, I'll be laughed at by the people next to me. So catch the fish no matter what. Paul here has pulled the tuna to the surface. One hit with the harpoon. This tuna is easy to get. I can leave early again today. To see how easy it was for them to catch a tuna, I want to take off my pants and go fishing. This fish is only 97 inches. It's a good size. Cook's still working on it, but they soon caught him too. They've had a very lucky week. A fish is caught almost every day. Sprint for first place this season should be secure. When they pull the fish out, the fish measured only 97 inches in length. The same length as Paul's fish. Depends on whose fish is fatter. Tyler, they failed to fish today. The boat is being repaired now. It was a double blessing. Fortunately, it was fixed in the end. The cat came over and gave him a big pussy. Jealous of Taylor's ability, I guess. You deserve to be so handsome. If it were me, take this cat straight to tuna fishing. Later, my sister taught the cat a lesson. I look pretty speechless, too. Tyler put on a blindfold, stand at the door, and scold the cat. It's been a terrible day. The fish ran away. The ship broke down again and got slapped by a cat for no reason. About Tyler being attacked by a cat at sea. It went straight to Dave. This is indeed a curious story. Dave also posted a picture of Tyler. It really kills you. Soon after, the probe beeped. A tuna comes here. As expected, the rod moved. This is really Tuna's favorite spot. Paul and Cook both caught fish here today. And now it's Dave's turn. Dave jerked back the line. The fish was quickly pulled back to the neighborhood. Teammate Jay is ready to attack with a harpoon. When it comes to the surface, unfortunately, it didn't hit. They had to wait again for the right opportunity. Dave's continuing to reel in. The team is coordinating to adjust the direction of the ship. A second chance soon followed. Jay hit with a single shot. The tuna went crazy, but it didn't struggle much. I was really surprised. Is it that easy to catch a tuna? The two men hauled the tuna onto the fishing boat. This fish is only 89 inches. It's not that big. They immediately sailed back to sell the fish. Everyone caught tuna. Only Tyler was crying and covering his eyes. Well, that's just bad luck opening the fucking door and getting home. His sister came to inquire about him. They debated whether to go back to the doctor. The dead cat next to him was expressionless. Tyler was tossing and turning on the ground. Sister took out her phone to send a circle of friends. They finally decided to go back to the doctor first. If it takes an eye, that would really hurt. Comforting message from the girl group. Each of the captains expressed a relationship. Let's hope he gets back out there and gets back to being a good fishing guy. Paul and they went back to the port to sell fish. The buyer grinned from ear to ear. It's not a big fish today. I'm guessing it'll sell for about $5,000. The fish weighed 322 pounds. It's kind of a surprise. Now Paul prays that this fish has a good fat core. It's the only way to get a good price. The first thing a buyer says is no fat. Paul was confused. The white on the fish is not fat. Is that the buyer's spit? The buyer offered $12 a pound. Paul made only $3,864 this time. The buyer is definitely undercutting the price. Paul was very disappointed. The fish didn't bring them any luck, did it? Cook and his men returned to port. Paul's fish is the same length as Cook's fish. But what is the difference in price? It's hard to say. The fish weighed 328 pounds, 6 pounds more than Paul's fish. They're about the same size and weight. In theory, fat and thin is the same. But this time the buyer says the fish has more fat. What color is good to praise? The buyer offered $22 a pound. Cook and his crew raked in $7,216. Same 97 inches, same weight. There is such a big difference in price between the two fish. The buyer is obviously looking for a price. Cook and they make twice as much money as Paul. OTT, they haven't been getting anything lately. Always seeing people serving fish. They are very unhappy. Just put the bait in the water today. Soon the sound of the probe was heard. A tuna is attracted to them. Without accident, the rod was quickly pulled. This is the moment when everyone starts to get excited. They waited a long time for this fish. At least it gives them hope of winning again. Teammates can't wait. Straight hard pull tuna. Soon the fish has no strength. Teammates attack with harpoons. You don't have to be so violent. About their fishing operations, you can see how anxious they are. Their behavior angered the tuna, and it swam out again. But he managed to catch the fish in the end. When they pull the tuna up, only 83 inches. It's just a little fish. Dave and his men returned to port. All the fish we caught today are about the same size. As for the price, it all depends on whether the buyer has a conscience. This tuna weighs only 252 pounds. The weight is very light. The buyer says the fish looks beautiful, but it's still warm to the touch. This means that the core of the fish is not well controlled. The buyer offered $22 a pound. Dave and his little fish raked in $5,544. Think about Paul's 322 pounds for $3,700. I've lost my pants. I'm guessing Paul and his team won't get the top spot anyway. Tyler's done with his eyes here. The doctor said it was just a skin wound, but now my eyes hurt. Now get out there and go fishing. Otter and his men have returned to port. Their tuna is the smallest they've caught today, but it also weighs 212 pounds. Then it's up to the buyer to say what. The core of the fish is fine. The buyer offered $19 a pound. The otters made $4,085. I hard-take Paul again for a second. Another day passed. It's past 6 in the morning. Marcia and they cooked breakfast again. These bacons are making my mouth water. Why don't you catch 2 fish and fry them together? If it were me, I'll just eat seafood for a meal. The last time I ate breakfast, I got something. I wonder what will happen this time. Soon there was a noise from the probe. Does eating breakfast on a boat really attract tuna? Everyone is looking forward to it. Soon there was movement in the fishing rod. This tuna is really on the hook. A tuna that has just bitten is usually afraid to die, so it pulls the line a long way. All you have to do is wait. It's not too late to reel it in when you run out of energy. The fish is just under the boat. I soon lost my strength. Marcia uses a harpoon to cool it down. Breakfast not even ready yet. They just caught a tuna, seeing them make thousands of dollars easily. You might want to go fishing too. After they pulled the fish out, this fish is 103 inches in length. I think it's pretty big. It's 2 p.m. The girls finally show their face. Their luck is very bad, belong to the bottom of this season's existence. The catch might just be the cost, although they didn't catch any fish, but very positive. It's like I work so hard and I can't make any money. While they were fishing for bait, the detector beeped. The machine rings a lot, but the tuna never bite their hooks. This time, they were not hopeful either. Suddenly, the fishing rod responds. Looks like this fish is really hungry. The girls are very excited. They've been waiting hundreds of years for this fish. The girl keeps pulling in. He even took off his clothes to seduce him. There was a lot of shaking when she pulled it in. How can the girl dress too conservatively? The photographer pointed the camera at each other, and there's no picture of the stuffing. They're in a hurry to get the line back. Looks like the girls are hungry too. Teammates said to Tuna, "Come to mommy. Here's grandma, you want a drink." This is the tactic for tuna fishing. Even in the whole world, it's pretty explosive. It's my first time anyway. In the sound of her calling, it finally had some effect. The fish swam towards them. In return for a fatal blow, this fish tells us with his life. What is a knife on the head of color word? The girls finally managed to seduce a tuna. Face this rare tuna. They looked forward to it for a long time. Can't wait to pull the fish up. It's only 97 inches. But for a girl group, that's all they've got. Watching this seduced tuna die. Girls in a bad mood for a long time. Marcia, they're back in port. The fish they caught was the biggest in days. But being big is not necessarily a good thing. It's a good thing the buyer is honest. The fish weighed 427 pounds. The buyer says a lot about fish. Just trying to keep the price down. The final price was $18 per unit. Marcia, they made $7,686. 6:21 p.m. Tyler and the men rejoined the fishing spot. A cat hurt his eye yesterday. A wasted day. I just started fishing today. The temperature is getting warmer and warmer now. This is very bad for the scenic tuna. He sat in the boat and analyzed. Soon the probe beeped. That's pretty fast. No accident. The fishing rod begins to fish again. Taylor moved the rod into the open. Then adjust the ship. He shouted excitedly. Taylor is guessing the size of the fish. Well, not before we hook it up. It's all about guessing at the big size. By this time, he had begun to go mad. This fish is destined to save them from spending the night at sea today. It's very rough right now. The fish is very excited too, probably afraid of death. The sky soon turned dark. It's completely invisible from the surface. Through the constant efforts of my sister, the fish was quickly pulled to the surface. Tyler's got a harpoon and he's ready to attack. The waves kept lapping at their faces. From 6 till 9, the longer you fish, the greater the risk of fish decoupling. This is probably the worst I've ever seen. My sister's strength is failing. Tyler had to go on. The strength of this fish is too good. Maybe it's very big, or a male tuna. Soon the fish was losing its strength. Tyler waits for his chance with a harpoon. In the end, this tuna can't escape the fate of sashimi. The sister tied the fish's tail with a rope. Tuna caught needs to be dragged in the water to cool down. We can't pull the fishing boat until it cools down. This fish is only 97 inches in size, the same size as Paul Cook's fish. The girls are back in the harbor selling fish. Their fish is 97 inches. The next thing to look at is the weight of the fish. The fish weighed a staggering 440 pounds. It took me by surprise. Almost 100 pounds more than Cook and Paul's fish. In theory, that means the fish is fat. The meat of this fish is very fatty. That sounds great. Next up is the fish core. Very clear. In the end, the buyer offered only $21 per unit. The girls made $9,240. I'm sure the buyer is underbidding. Fatter than Cook's fish. But the unit price is lower. Next up is Taylor and his tuna. This fish is the same size. It weighs only 364 pounds. The buyer loved the fish, but there's not a lot of fat. The fish core is nearly perfect. The buyer offered $17 a pound. The Taylors made $6,188. That's reasonable. What surprises do the contestants have in store for us next? Look forward to an update in the next video.